Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Monday night stream where we're going to do random web things because that's what we do. Um, Today, I think I was talking to one of my friends, and we were talking about form controls and specifically how hard they can be and how convoluted they can be. One of the things that came up was time controls. Now there is an HTML time control, and it works quite well, but the I figured there's something to be said about the analog clock. So I think what I'm going to try to do today is see if with some HTML, some CSS, we can come up with a really nice time time input field of some kind that basically displays like a clock. So basically a clock that would allow you to set the time for something. So I think we're going to play with that because of course, trigonometry, playing with circles and trig and all that fun stuff um, wasn't tricky enough the last time we did that with our little circle layout nav thing, or circle nav. Let's try to play with circles again because apparently that's what I enjoy. Weird things, and lots of circles. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just popped over into CodePen. And let's see what we can't do. So right now I have just a blank new CodePen. I think I'm going to call this one clock. Edit. Clock. And so the first thing we're going to need, because right now, let's look at what the standard input field looks like. So if I have an input type equals time, we can see that I can have a time control and I can do this game and it's going to give me an AM, PM. And it also looks slightly different based on your operating system and all that fun stuff. But I think we can do something a little bit more interesting, I think, than this game. So let's give that a go. So if I wanted to do a clock, I think the first thing we need to do is I'm going to do a container so we can center it. Div class equals container. And that's just so that I can center my stuff in the middle of the screen more than anything else. And inside that container, actually, I don't even think we need to do that because our clock is going to have a height and width, right? And we could even say we have a height. We can even make it. This is going to be the view width. I wonder if this is going to take, if this is more enough to take the view height and view width of its container. We could use a query container. That would be interesting. I wonder if it'll do it. So if I say clock, and we have dot clock height. Let's give it a border. Border solid 1 pixel pink. I'm feeling like pink. And then we're gonna do height is equal to min max the height would be, the minimum would be, we don't want to clamp because we don't want to go smaller. We want the smaller of the two, right? We want the smaller of the height to width if we wanted to fill everything up. Or we could just give it a width and call it a day. Like we could totally just say 300 pixels, right? But that's no fun. Like if I do, I can totally just say 300 pixels. And wow, fingers. We can worry about making it dynamic in a minute. And width. Because in order to be its circle, there we go. So now we have a box. If I spell width correctly, it'll actually take the width of the box. That'll help. Details. It's almost like spelling matters. Gasp. What? There we go. What just happened? Oh, I clicked save. Okay, so now we have our box over here. I'm gonna make this a little bit thicker outline so that we can see it well. There we go. So now I'm going to put my box in the middle, I'm going to margin 0 to rem auto for now. There we go. So that's in the center, but it's a very, very square, and what we really, really, really want is a very, very round clock, right? So to make it look round, because it won't necessarily be square per se. It's going to be I mean, it's still going to be a square, it's just going to look round. We're going to do a border radius of 50%. And now we should have a circle. Cool. So now that we have our circle, inside of our circle, we kind of want to put our numbers, right? So 1 through 12. So we could probably get away with, we'll go ahead and put them all. Why not? So we're going to put span 1. Actually, those could be divs. And we're going to copy that. Copy v. We have a 2. We have a 3. We have a 4. We have a 5. We have a 6. We have a 7. We have an 8. We have a 9. Oops. I'm missing closing things now. What the heck? Gotta close the divs. Okay. 9. I need 3 more. 10, 11, 12. All right. And now we need to place all 12 of our numbers all the way around our circle, right? So we know that from a pure mathematical perspective, that all the way around is 360. So 1 is going to end up being here, essentially. And then actually it's going to end up here. 12 is at the top. And we need to divide 360 by 12 to figure out where we need to position them, right? So we're going to end up with our clock. And these are going to be our numbers, right? So class. I don't know that I want to give them a class number. So we're going to do div class. Which I kind of do need to give it to all of them. Well, let me do like it does in my editor, the multi-select. No, it won't. Class equals number. Because it's my face numbers. Don't usually call things class number, but in this case, it actually makes sense because it's the number on the clock. Most those have a specific term that I am not aware of, or a specific name on the clock face that I am not aware of. If I wanted to get real fancy, I could have done it in Roman numerals. That could have been fun. Maybe we can have that option once you actually get it working. Change it to Roman numerals. Alright. So, we have our numbers. Excuse me. It's Monday. It's been a day. How about you guys? How's your day been? Good, bad, ugly? I mean, it's Monday, so. All the coffees. Alright, so the numbers we're going to do is we are going to take our 360 and divide it by 12 and position our numbers accordingly. So what we want to do is basically put them in the center of our, by default we want them in the middle, right? So we're going to text align. Our number is going to be a text align center. And now, I think if we start them all from a known position instead of a dynamic position. So if I take my numbers and I do display our position relative, and I take these and I make them position absolute, maybe starting in the top left hand corner is not so bad. All right, and we have, there we go. So now we know that our number, nth of type 1, actually let's start with 12. Our nth of type 12, right? Because we know the 12 needs to go in the top middle. So that one is going to be a left 50%, right? Easy peasy. Or not. Number nth of type. There you go. And it's not quite 50% because it's 50% minus itself, right? So the width of itself. So we're going to make these, because if we highlight these, right, I'm going to say background yellow. Oh, good. So it's 50% minus the width of the self. And so we know that it's going to be, we're going to left 50%. I'll leave that here for now. It'll help us see where our outline or where we land. And then we're and I'm going to translate transform, translate right, which would be, it's like transform, I think it's translate, isn't it? CSS transforms. I think it's translate. Translate, yeah. And translate left 50%. Actually it's just translate, and it's going to be -%, and it's going to be a translate X. There we go. And now it's legitimately in the middle because we've put it at 50% and then we've brought it back 50% of its width, right? And so that's how we end up in the middle. Now with everything we can go ahead and start from that position and it would not be a bad deal. So if we actually started everyone from here, that would not be a bad deal at all. It's just going to be a matter of where we want to go in terms of heights and widths, right? All right. So if we start everybody in the middle, we get rid of your yellow because otherwise we're not going to be able to see anybody else. And let's start with number 1. Now number 1 needs to go down and out, right? So if we think, let's start with 6, because 6 is going to be easy. Because 6 needs just to go straight down, right? So 6 is going to need a transform or a bottom of 0. And by simply giving it a bottom of 0, now we're good to go, right? The other one that's going to be fairly easy are going to be our 3s, our 3 and our 9, right? Because our 3 needs to go here. So our 3 ends up being a is going to be a top 50%. 50%. And then a left, no, a right, 100%. Now, it's not exactly where it needs to be, if you catch my drift, right? It is because we need that left to not say 50, right? So we're gonna unset the left. Actually, we can basically make that just on, we can make the 12 just on the, let's go ahead and make that the 12. What are we inheriting here? A lot of things. Yeah, we're inheriting. So we're gonna unset the left. So left, there you go. There we go. And so remember that trick we did. So we're going to do, now we're exactly on the line. We're going to do transform translate x 0 for now. Translate x, we're going to do negative 100%. We want to keep it inside the circle. We're also going to do a translate y. I can actually even do 200% to really keep it inside the circle. Are you inside? Nope. Why not? Why not? Is the translate x not working? Let's put a ridiculous number. Is it moving? Boogered something up. Because it's not moving. Why is it not moving? Because we went left 100% and we should translate it back. Do I get a console in here? I'm curious. How does that even work? Does it? Oh, it does work. Brilliant. Alright, so it really doesn't like whatever code I wrote. Alright. It didn't have an issue with that one, did it? Which was just number in general. Number 12. Let's find 6. There's 6. Now, I didn't have a problem with that one. Oh, I forgot the S in transform. There we go. Much better. There you go. Surprise, surprise, it was a spelling mistake. Everybody's shocked. Who's shocked? Raise your hand. Okay, so now that we have that, we have our 3 where it's a little not exactly on the center line. So to the same trick we did here with the X and the Y, we're going to translate Y. Translate Y. And here we're going to go negative 50%. To truly be in the middle. That's not truly the middle. No. I don't think we need it in that direction, maybe. We'll figure that one out in a second. Maybe I'll put a line or something to make us see if we're actually in the middle. Okay. So we have a 3 or 6. We do, over here we can do our 9. So for 9, we're going to want to be a left of 0. And then it's going to be the same as our 3, right? So we're going to do a left of 0 and a top of 50%. And so that is actually not our 6, but our 9. Okay. And there we're going to do the transform to bring it, on inside the circle. So to bring that inside the actual circle, collapse this a bit for now. Actually, I could just close that and then I'll have more room. There we go. We're going to translate positive 100%. So we have our 9. Our 3's kind of wonky still. There you go. That's a bit nicer. Okay. So now we still have the harder numbers, right? And the harder numbers, we got to figure out some, probably a little bit of trigonometry, because why would I do a project that doesn't involve some level of trig? So what we need to do is bring it here, right? So it's going to be 1/3 of this way and 1/3 down. So it's going to be 1/3 of 50%, essentially. We may get away with this without any trig. So 1/3 of 50% is going to be we're going to do that. Okay. And we're going to do a calc. That'll help. Okay. So now our 1 is not where it's supposed to be. It's at 1/3. We basically want it at 1/6 realistically. One, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6. Yeah. So at 1/6, and left ends up also being, I think 1/6. Not quite. 1/6, 2, 6. We're kind of already in the middle. Wait. 1/6 of what? 1/6%, right? It was working a second ago, and now it is no longer. What in the name of everything? Okay. I broke it. We want to be at the top. We want to be 1/6 of our height. So we set a height of what? Initially 300. So we want 1/6 of 300, right? So so it's going to be 300 divided by the 6 divided by 6 pixels. Cool. And now we want to go to the right. So we're going to do 300. So we want to go to the left. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be left is going to be calc 300 px divided by 6 times 5. Cool. That seems low, but we'll find out what happens with the 2. So the 2 should be divided by 6 times 2. That should be a 2. And cool. And that should be times 6. No, because that puts me there. Times 5 puts us there. That's not helpful. 5, 5, 5, 5? No. That works remarkably well. It shouldn't, but it does. But notice that our angles are kind of wrong, right? Because we've managed to put our 1 halfway between the 12 and the 3 instead of, 1/3 the way between our 12 and our 3. So that don't work. That doesn't quite work. So let's refigure out our 1 here. Because we did 300 divided by 6 for our top. And that needed to be, because we're dividing by 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, yeah, 3. It should be divided by 6. There's 3 pieces, 3 pieces. And actually, because your lines, I don't think, yeah. So that's a 300. That's not 300 actually. Well, from the top, that is 300. That I want to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to divide it by 5. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This times 0 would be here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should not be this hard. I can do simple math online, I swears. Let's deal with the... Do we have any translates playing in the mix? No. Just the left-right translate, which is fine. Right now I'm worried about the top-bottom. So our top to bottom here is 300. So half would be 150. And 150 divided by 3, I mean, it's the same thing as 300 divided by 6. Puts us here. Which is realistically where the 2 needs to go. Why? What is wrong with the math? Why don't the math? There we go. I feel like there's something wonky with our circle. Maybe I'm just not. I'm gonna do this. For geometric reference, we're gonna do a... Put these at the end so they don't mess up our numbers. We're gonna do... that should give us a vertical line somewhere along the rainbow. Somewhere over the rainbow. Come on. Why are you not showing? With... Should have a line in the middle. There we go. All right, height 200, width 2 pixels, left 50%. Yeah, and a semicolon for a good measure. Which of course it didn't left, because of course it didn't. Who knows why? Because that would be too easy. Everything else left's 50% except you. Great. And we're gonna do the same thing to you, except you're gonna be a width of 50%. A width of 300 pixels. and a height of 2 pixels. And now why do you insist on staying on, so the left of 0 and the top of 50? Now why is it staying there? Because everything, oh, because it doesn't have a number. There we go. Position absolute. Because I did not call it a number. Funny how that works. So it is not getting that about. Okay, so now we know where our center points are. Because holy Helsinki Batman, I'm tired of guessing. All right, so now we see that our 1, our 2, our 3 are not as badly off as we thought they were. They're just off in terms of where our center lineage are. Now I did give them give those line heights 2 pixels, so it's not going to be exactly the center, but it's close enough for what we need. So we know that these need to, the 9 and 3 need to go up, including the 2 and the 1 need to kind of go up by their own height. So if we take the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 9, the same way that we had transform, translate y. Did we translate y? Anybody? I don't think we did. Oh, do you have the 6? Interesting. Translate x, translate x. Interesting. So if I do a translate y minus 50%, the same way we did the x, with all the parens and the things, negative. The heck? And the 3 didn't come. Why? Top left, transform, translate x. Oh, we do need the y. Translate y. Here. So that works, and same with the 9. Cool. So that puts them on the center. Now actually adjusts our 2 a little bit. So our 2 needs to come up and over, because we have it essentially on the line, but we need to adjust it by its own size, right? So we need to adjust it by, it's not going to be exactly that, but it's a good start, right? So negative 100 on the x. And with the 1, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. That needs to go up a little bit. Wait. Should go all the way up to 200. All right. So now we have our 1, our 2, and our 3. That was way harder than it needed to be. Way bit harder than it needed to be. And so now we can go ahead and position our 5 and our 6, our 4 or 5, our 4 and our 5. So we have, hello, how's it going? And then we have, what do we have? Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna do number 4, and 4 is going to go as far as in our lower quadrant. So top is going to be, so 3 was 50%. So it's going to be 50. What's 100 divided by 6? I don't know. Oh, 100 divided. No, I don't want modulo. Thanks. $16. Yeah, of course. Of course. So we're gonna do, that's why we were doing division up there. We're gonna do it again. So we're gonna do our top is going to be our 100% divided by 6 multiplied by 1, 2, 3, 4 multiplied by 4. And that kind of needs to be in a calc. There we go. And that puts, did I just mess up our 9? Why did I mess up our 9? That was not brilliant. Our 9 needs to stay up. There we go. Our 9 is definitely perfectly fine at 50%. There we go. So now our 6 is in the middle. So top is calc 100%. We wanted 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 4. The heck? Divided by 6. The times 4. That's gonna put it too low though. Divided by 6 times 4, unfortunately though, is gonna put it way lower than we want it. Where is our, oh, if I put the times 4 inside it helps. There we go. Yeah, that's the problem. It does not put it where we want it. How did we do? 1.7. I did random sauce. That's how we manage the other ones. I did random sauce. Because it's going to be... It's the radius. But it's not necessarily a right angle triangle either, which isn't helpful. But that would be from here to here. But then we don't necessarily know the size of the arc. Okay, I'm done. We're done. We're not playing this game. We're going to fake it. Okay. 6 is... There we go. And so now we need to push it over so we can do that. We can do the same thing we did with the 1 and the 2, right? So in this case, the 2. So the 2 to go over to the left, we can just do that. Ooh. Oh, because I have to translate what 100. So in this case, we're going to be positive 100 on the translate, right? We want to push it down. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that translate altogether to figure out where we're at. Let's get rid of the translate. Okay, that puts us here, which is not a bad deal. We're not quite there yet because we still have to move for our increment of what we are, right? So we still need the translate y 100%, yes. And that should work actually. Because we should be, how did we end up back here? That should be the self. Because like if I move this one over and I get rid of that, it's just the self. It's not. How are we moving back that much? Oh, because I'm messing with the wrong thing. We're messing with the wrong thing again. I need to leave that 6 alone. That's what I get for playing with the 6. Okay, 6, go back to where you belong. Okay. And then translate y 100%. I'm Martina. How are you doing today? Welcome to the stream. So translate y. We'd actually want that to be 100. We wanted that positive 100. I think. There you go. And we're then going to leave. Oh, I need the transform on there. And we're going to leave our 6 alone. 50. Before I mess it up again. I don't know how many times we've redone the 6 at this point. I don't. Alright, let's leave the 6 alone. We were trying to do the 4 until I repeatedly messed it up. So we have 1, 2, 3. We're overlapping our 3 with our 4 at the moment. Because we don't actually want to go left 100%. We want to go left probably the same amount as we did our 2 actually. So we're going to take our same left as our 2. Cool. And then we're gonna need to go down further though. So we're going to need to go 50. We're gonna need to go 50. I'm based out of the US. How about you? I'm gonna go 50. How much did we increment by on when we did number 2 on the top? So does CSS for deg or red as units? It does, both of them actually. I think I'm overcomplicating this because I should be just doing this in degs or rags, but I can't remember how I think rads might be the easiest one. If I could remember the 0s and the 1s for rads. We could look this up. That would be smart, actually. This would be far simpler. Because this is becoming downright painful. Each number is plus 30 degs. Yeah, if I wanted to rotate them, though, that doesn't help with the position because I still need to give it an XY coordinate. Right? Like if I'm positioning, because if I'm doing rotate, it's just going to rotate the number. that's not necessarily helpful. Other than, actually, you know what might work? This is gonna be real dumb. I want to try this just because sin cosine. Yeah, no. That's the point. But I haven't, you made me think of something even simpler. Let's do if we do yeah, we want to keep the absolute. But if we add a span in each of these, we can literally have the box be the box, and you rotate the box however many degs, and then you re-rotate the span inside the box that many degs, and then you know, counterclockwise that many degs, one clock, one counterclock, and you basically just rotate your box. That's the easiest solution, and then there's not even any sines or cosines to be had. Because if I take a span, I'm overcomplicating my life so bad. And we do this, right? I really wish I could do the multi-select in this thing. I haven't figured out what the keyboard shortcut is. There we go. And then we can do 1. That becomes a 2. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 4. That becomes a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. Control Z. Control Z. 11, 12. Okay. So now what I can do is I can take my number, which is a box, right? And take my the position that no longer needs to be absolute, but our number is going to be a height and width of 300 as well. Width of 300. And then I'm going to go ahead, and now that we have a height and width, right, we can go rotate. Where did our numbers go? They're all, we still need our position absolute though. Well, hello, Ashes of Owls. Thank you for the raid, and welcome, welcome. We're doing very fun things and trying to figure out trigonometry. You are welcome to chime in on the best way to fit 12 numbers around a circle, because that seems to always be the fun part. My trig is rusty, but this would work. A equals 30 degs times the angle length distance. Oh, I have a simpler idea in mind. Let's see if mine doesn't work, I'll punt to yours. But welcome, welcome one and all. And so what we can do here is take, oops, if I put all the semicolons, it really does help. So now we have everything here. So I can take each of them, take each ones of my numbers. So number first of type. Actually, we're going to do nth so I can repeat. It's been forever since I've had to think about this kind of stuff, but it's a fun problem. Yeah, it was one of those brain farts where I'm like, it'd be fun to write a nice time control, like an analog time control where you can pick the time. But so far I'm stuck on trying to put numbers on the face of a clock. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So our first one, which is our number 1, we would want to, because we're starting here, right? Oh, poop. My idea only marginally works. Actually, no, it does work. I just need to start here, down here. So I need to, for our numbers to be to be left 0. No, left 50%. We're back to this game. All right. And then translate x negative 50%. I thought they had made it so that we could do translates without needing the transform. I thought that was legal. Translate x. No, it does need to transform, doesn't it? It needs to transform. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So now we have you where I want you. Kind of. Not. Where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong? We were so pretty and then we weren't. Yeah, because I'm translating, but the the span is what gets the transform. Not, oops, there we go. The span is what gets the transform, not this. That's where, because we're now dealing with the box. That's what's going on. And so now the span inside of the number, transform, translate, negative 50%. Okay. So now we have the numbers, theoretically. Oh, the span. The span, the span, the span. Span. Dot number span. No, not incoming ad break. We're not playing that game yet. Can I snooze it? Apparently not yet. How do I have 0 snoozes left? Snooze. There you go. Snooze for 5 minutes. I just want to... Anyway. Translate x by 50. And we should be moving back to where we want to go. Maybe. If you put the S in transform. I feel like this is deja vu. Translate, transform. Okay. Let's ignore this part of it for now. Then we're going to take the first one and we're going to rotate the first one by 50%. By, basically, rotate by 30 degrees. So rotate 30 deg. I believe is legal. I thought you could just rotate. What the hell? I thought rotate was now a thing. Rotate is a thing. It is very much a thing. Number, dot number, nth of type 1, rotate. And then we should do 2. Number 2, which would be 60. But why are we not rotating? Because it's the dot number. This should be working. Why is it not working? Where did I go wrong? I feel like nothing I'm doing is changing anything. Let's make this, I don't know, orange to make sure that me changing something actually works. Okay, that did work. So at least there's that. Rotate, which is totally legal. Index, degrees, which is totally legal. So what in the actual fuck nuggets? I gave it a height, I gave it a width. We want to rotate from the center though. So transform origin, but I think it's by default center anyway. I don't think that's gonna make a hill of beans different. So where's my 1? Let's do background. The quintessential background. Why aren't you working? Background red. That does not bode well. Nth of type 1. What in the world am I doing wrong? Why won't you listen to me? Number. They all have a class of number. Cool. Nth of type 1. Nth of type. Rotate. Let's get rid of the rotate. Is the rotate mucking up the works? No. The rotate is not what is mucking up the works. Did I forget a semicolon somewhere? It would be me to get foiled by a semicolon. Pink? No. This should all work. Position absolute. So if I do background blue. That worked. Alright, we're getting somewhere now. So that totally worked. And so now, so why does background red? It is still an nth of type 1. Div class number, span. You open the span, you close the span. And then the 1. Number. I'm starting to doubt my sanity. Yeah, it's a thing. At last I checked. It's very much a thing. My ad is no. Snooze. It's gonna do the ad thing, isn't it? Can I snooze? Ad starts in 4 minutes. No, you will not. You're going to snooze. And that is the wrong button. Alright, let's take a quick break while I figure out why this is not working, and we'll go back to putting circles and numbers around a clock. So we will be right back after these messages. Alright, let's keep going. Let's figure this out. And to why in the world it is still not working, because this is kind of stupid at this point. So if we look at, is this still working? Yeah, okay. If we look at you even lost our crossbars at the bottom. So something about something here is wonky. And that's still wonky. And that's still, oh, that made it come back. Okay. So let's put this back in. Oh, I found it. That needs to be funny how that's going to suddenly help things work a whole lot better. So now if we bring you back. Hey X, how's it going? You enjoying summer vacation? Back. Okay, so that is as dumb as fixing that. There we go. Okay, so why we're not getting our background red on our first child, though, is still left to be decided. That's for the number in the span, which is not actually doing what I think it should. Maybe. Transform, translate. That really should be 50, but we'll figure that one out in a sec. It might be 200 at that point, but that math will math eventually. It's not affecting the span anyway for some reason. Translate X. That should do. Like if I put a completely ridiculous number in there, it should move, and it's not. So let's get rid of these two until we can get the span to actually behave the way it should. So span, theoretically, I think you can put a translate on an inline just fine, but let's double check that by making it a block and see if suddenly, hey, all right. So if I do that as a 50, now we're working. So we needed to make it an inline block. So that solved that. All right, next hurdle of me debugging my own code. All right. We still don't have a red background. Why? I rotate. Let's take the rotate aspect out. Let's take the nth of child 12 out. And let's just start with that. And why in the name of everything that is holy can I not do a background red? Which should be like, there we go. All right. It really wants those semicolons. Is it really all that is? It's just that it really wants the semicolons. Shite. All right. So now we're going to rotate you. Rotate. 30 deads. Semicolon. Cool. So now we'll notice that, unfortunately, let's move this margin top just a hair so we can see what we're doing. 5. My little plan is only marginally going to work because we've rotated it, but we're in that top corner, and that is not going to work. We're rotating from the center. If I take out the rotation, we don't want to be offset. Why did I offset? We don't want to be offset. Hold on. Number. We don't want this transform. Right. We want a text align. Center. Middle. There we go. Ah. And so now if I take out the background. No, because we're still way off kilter by doing that. RGBA. Like we're still way off. You're still way off. Hey hello Mix Space Wolves, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Okay, because now even if I do the rotate fun game, but if we were text align center, which we're not doing, why are we not text align center? That's the, oh, because text align backtick means a lot. Ha! Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're absolutely getting somewhere. We don't need this translate anymore. I'm gonna simplify. Now we're getting somewhere. Ha! Yes, that worked. Okay, so now in order to get our number to be right, for every rotation one way, the span needs to rotate the other way. So if I take this line and I do the nth type 1, the span, I want to go ahead and take that rotation negative 30. Why is it doing insert again? Degrees. And now our 1 is actually a 1 and in the correct spot. And so now we can keep going with that repeatedly with all the way through 12. And it'll actually look right. Gasp. Okay, so for number 2, now I can get rid of this background. I think we'll put it on number 2 so we know what we're talking about with 2. I'm going to copy this guy and do number 2. Number 2. We're going to get rid of your background. Now you're going to go 60, right? And so now we're going to need to go negative 60. And we're back straight again. Nice. Okay. We're getting somewhere. And now we're going to go 3. And we're going to, I think we've gotten the point with the background. I think I don't need to put that one back in anymore. I think we've gotten our thing going. So this one is going to be 90 and then negative 90. And it is right on our line. Perfect. And now we're going to go for 4. Haha, 4. That's 120. And negative 120. And 5. If I was in SAS, we could totally write this as a function. 5. But I am not. Can we put this in SAS before I lose my marbles? I wonder, can we put this in SAS? Normalize, reset, yada yada yada. Behavior, no. Editor. Thank you for the follow, Ashes of Owls. Welcome. Template, no. I thought we could do this in this. Can we not? I thought we could. No, that's not what I want. Oh, preprocessor, there it is. I'm staring at it. SCSS, sweet. Save close. All right, so now that we're in SCSS, let's just go ahead and do a for loop, because SCSS does have for loops, believe it or not. I don't know how we ended up off kilter on the on this thing though. Let's maximize that. Wrong lever, crunk. Sheesh. We're gonna do a, so yes, so SAS has for loop. It's super cool. I can never remember the syntax, but it's super cool. There we go. It's for I through, and if I remember, through 2 versus through, one's inclusive, one is not. Through is used. Okay, so 2 is not inclusive, through is inclusive. So in our case, we want to go through 1 through 12. So we're gonna take this one basically. And what we're gonna do, because I really don't want to write this 12 times. I mean, at this point I could have written it 12 times, but it's a lot more fun to just like, so 1 through 12. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take basically this. We're gonna put it new. Okay, we're gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep that underneath a bit, kind of for reference as to how it works, but we won't necessarily need it. This is gonna be our I, our variable, and then I. Where's I? And then we're gonna rotate by 30. 30 times I, basically. Dex. However, that's, we're gonna have to do calc. I don't know that we need to do calc. I think it will just let me do math. I think, though, to do math, we might have to do I times 30. And do it this way, maybe, I think. And then here, we're gonna do times -1 to make it negative. I think that'll work. Oh, to do the interpolation, it's pound. It's not dollar. I think that'll work. Maybe. We'll find out soon enough. Please work. And we're going to comment these guys out because otherwise that's really not fair because we started. And it's going to be hard to tell what's working from what's not. And based on our results so far, I'm going to go with it's a whole lot of not working. Why is the big question. And I'm going to go with this. It's in this interpolation thing that it's really not working. And let's figure out math. I know I can do math. Operators, maybe? Overviews? Yeah, it can do math. Debug. We can do parentheses. Okay. Sure. Okay. Equality, irrational strength. Values, numbers. 3 square pixels. Okay. So theoretically, if I don't interpolate, maybe I just don't need to interpolate at all. I times 30 degs, and in this case, I times -30 degs, right? To make it really not too complicated. That should. No. Why not? Is it even doing anything in terms of the background? Blue. Blue. Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. With an N. Didn't seem to help anything. Oh. Does it need? Come on. Give me something. That worked. Ha! That may have been the secret. Alright. Now if I get rid of the blue, we have a pretty star. That makes for a really cool star. Alright. Did it work? It worked, my precious. It worked. Yay! It worked. Ta-da! We have numbers on a clock. That was way harder than it needed to be. Alright, so now that we have numbers on a clock, we need a hand, right? And the hand needs to rotate. I think I can get rid of all of this chunk that I didn't want to write by hand. But we need a minute hand, and we need a wow, a minute hand and an hour hand. Wow, words. Yes, the thing to tell the time. It's a hand. And I think we're gonna reuse our vertical and our horizontal here, at least for a little bit. So let's start with I'm gonna rename them though. I'm gonna rename our vertical with hour hand. I'm gonna call it hour, and I'm gonna rename this one the minute hand. And so our hour hand is over here at the moment, and it is way too big because we basically, I don't know about you guys, but kind of needs to be half or worth the radius, not the diameter. So first off, let's make it a little bit thicker. Second, we're going to make it the radius. So we have a diameter of 300, so it's going to be 150. So now it's half, which is still a little big, depending on the style that we want. And this is fairly, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. 5 left. Okay. Now we need to start rotating. So let's say if I take our time and I want to make it in terms of our hour hand, the hour hand is usually rather short. So let's go even shorter than that. That may be a little short. Let's do 100. Okay. But we need that if we think of the greater box, right? If we think, like, if I outline my box, outline 1px yellow. If I outline the box, nothing happens. It's gonna be one of those days, isn't it? Yeah, we're exactly where we thought we were. Okay. We want to be at the center of our circle. So height, width, left 50, and height 50, or top 50. Top 50%. All right. So that makes it not 12 o'clock. And I think that if we rotate, so let's say I rotate 30 degs, we're going to be in a very weird position. Yeah. So we can, although we're not too far off, because we can rotate from the top. And we basically want to rotate from the top at the top center. Hello, Hot Flame Edits. Welcome to the chat. So I can rotate, so I need to rotate from the top center. So we're gonna say transform origin. This is getting really long. I should really just stack it, but then I wouldn't have enough. I don't usually format my CSS like this. I'm doing this because it's the stream, and that way everything fits on the screen at the same time. But I would not have these long lines of CSS. I would have CSS properties like that horizontally in like production code. I would very much stack those. Okay. So we want the transform origin to start at top center. So now we can actually rotate. So if I were to make like a dot in the center of our clock in order to kind of signify this is where the hands are coming from, let's call this center. So if I have a center, right? So if we say that center height, I don't know, 20 px with 20 px position absolute, left 50%, right, top 50%, background. Let's keep to the pink. That was cute. I like that pink. We now should have a center point somewhere. Somewhere. Except we don't. Left 50, top 50, background. Where are you? Why can I not find you? Give you a height and a width, and yet you're 0, 0. Why? Because if you don't put too many L's at class, magic things happen. There we go. Magic, how that works. Oh, will never fail. It will never fail. And then we're going to translate back 50%. And, form negative. Thank you. Okay. There we go. And we're going to make it round. And then we're going to put it on top of my lines. There we go. There we go. So now we can see that our line, our center does not exactly center from the middle, right? It doesn't, our clock hand isn't originating from exactly the center of our clock, which is mildly annoying because then we're going to spin off kilter. And I have a spinner out there, which is a loader that has the one of the hands off kilter, and it has bugged me massively for years. And I've not gotten around to fix it. Some people who work with me may know exactly which spinner I'm talking about. But one of the hands is slightly off, and unless you're looking really carefully, and it's not obvious, but it's there, and I know it's there, so it annoys me. Hey Sean, what's up? Guess what? I don't know what. Tell me what. I'll be in Sissy. Oh, cool. Me too. It's gonna be awesome. You're talking about Cincy Deliver, right? Sweetness. Then we will definitely have to hang out because I will definitely be there. You speaking or just helping? Giving a talk at 4. Oh, cool. What on? What about? Okay, so we need to get this line. Is it really enhancing network security? Oh, nice. That's quite relevant these days. Well, it's always been relevant, but even more so right now. Sweetness. That's exciting. My version of network security is to call my little brother. That's what he does. So it's like, I'm like, fix it. Yeah, I know nothing will keep peeps in their seats on the Light Friday like talking about network security. I don't know, there's worse. I did a closing keynote over there one year, and it was an accessibility and like telling people all the things of how they were not being accessible about things, and it still kept button seats, so you know, it was fine. I was in room for your keynote. I know. It was sweet. I was excited. Ironically, it's not a talk I've had a lot of chances to give. Mostly, I don't know. Doesn't get picked a whole lot. Oh yeah, we wanted to translate that. We said top 50. We have our top, we have a left of, oh, that's our center line. We want the hour line. We're going to ignore that line for a minute before I start editing the wrong classes again. What you been up to this day? Still running your own thing, or? Height is 100 with this 5. Okay, so we're gonna need to do the translate game again so that we can get to the center, right? So, and that's mostly our left to right that's off. So we're gonna go translate, transform, translate, X, 50%. That should get us back on kilter to the center, maybe. If I don't forget I'm just bound and determined to forget the S and transform. Okay, that, especially if I kill the rotate, right, which is over here somewhere. If I kill the rotate, right, we're nice and in the middle of that circle, and we can start rotating around. Yeah, still self-employed, but actually hiring onto my client end of this month. Oh, cool. That's awesome to hear. So now that we have that starting point, right, we know we're going to start at the bottom. That's the only thing to really keep in mind. So if we want to make our lives easier and start at the top instead of the bottom, we now need to shift everything upward. So, and instead of rotating from the top, we want to rotate from the bottom. So we can totally do that, which would make keeping track of what's what a little bit easier, simply because at that point you're starting everything, you know, where you would expect instead of, you know, 360 down. So let's do that. So we have the top. Here's our top, and here's our left. So we're going to do a top of 0. That's not going to work because, right, we've shortened the height of our hand. So what we really need to do, this puts us in the middle at the bottom, which is fine. What we want is calc. We want the difference. So we want 50% minus the height of our hand, which is 100 px. That should give us the difference and put us there. Cool. So now that we're starting at the top, we can have our hand. And I don't know about y'all, but I want rounded corners on my hand. So it's going to get rounded corners. I know it's a detail, but border radius 50%. Nice little rounded hand. Ooh, no. Let's do like 12 px. There we go. That's more like it. Okay. So now that we have our hour hand, so let's say we wanted it to be 4 o'clock, right? You'd do 30, 60, 30, 60, 90, 120. So 4 o'clock would be a rotation of 120. Now see how I've done that. And that's where we need to transform our engine from the bottom center instead of the top, because we moved everything around. And that still doesn't work. Why? 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 Of course it does. Why wouldn't it not work? So if I go back to not having a rotation at all, we go like this. We should be able to rotate from the bottom. Where's our bottom? I don't know. We transform origin, bottom center. This should be the transform origin. So why does rotating put us all the way in bloody left field? It feels like it's rotating from like here, which is weird. don't think it matters which order because it's, there we go. Okay. But now we're not on the center anymore. Why are we not on the center anymore? That's centered. Is our map not quite there? It's a plus the, no. Because we're going for the center, right? We're going 50% minus our hand is 100 pixels. Our height is 300 pixels. We want to be at 200 pixels, basically. And that, of course, doesn't work. Why? I am very confused right now. Ignore the rotation for a second. We're going to get rid of any transforms. That transform makes sense. That's not a top bottom thing. That goes with that. That's perfectly fine. We have a height, we have a width, that's perfectly fine. So here's what affects our top and bottom is this. And so if we don't do any transforms, this is where our thing naturally goes, right? Yay. So what we want is we want to go down by the amount that is the diff. So 300. Our full thing is 300, so it's 150. Minus the 100 would be 50. So theoretically, this should be 50 pixels. Math. There we go. And so now, if I rotate 120 degs, we're not on the center. Why? 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 Is this piece not on the center? Our center is width and height of 20 pixels. Has a position absolute. Yep. Left 50. Top 50. Background pink. Transform. Yeah, it's in the middle. Not much more middle than that. So why are we off by 10 apparently? Even though that math don't math. Why does... Oh, bogger. No, because I'm even in content box instead of border box, I'm not dealing with any padding. So it shouldn't affect anything on padding. It shouldn't affect anything because we're not doing anything with padding. However, it would affect certain things. Okay, so if I take out the rotation, yeah, because now we're too low. There it is. Now we're at 50. Now the math kind of maths. kind of maths. Let's make this 6. Because then we're going to, in order to rotate correctly, we're going to do calc 50 minus 3 px. And we're going to get rid of this secondary transform, which should help with a number of things. So now if we get rid of the rotate, we're still nice and in the middle. Good. Our top is 50, which is half of, right, which is what's left between 150 and 100. So that's correct. So why, we'll see. Why that's not, it may be my center that's off, and it may be my pink dot that's off. Let's figure that out in a second. So then we have our hours. I'll be mad if my pink dot's been like what's been off all along. Actually, there's an easy way to figure that one out. I want to see the easiest way to center something. Like legit the easiest way to center something. We have our center, right? We're going to give it a height and a width of 300 pixels and a width of 300 pixels. What did I break? Yeah. There we go. What the heck? Why are we breaking things? I'm breaking things. There we go. Okay. Right. Oh, that's interesting. By doing the box sizing, border box, now our numbers are off by the border. Interesting. So if I get rid of the box sizing and go back to content box. Interesting. All right. Here's our center. Height, width, 300, 300. Position absolute. It's why not? It's what we do with everything, right? And then we're going to then do it display grid or display flex. Doesn't matter. Justify content. Justify content. Center. Align item center. I'm off my center too, I get it. Yeah, no. Align items. Center. No, align, I think. No, align isn't. Is it center or is it middle? Now I'm second guessing myself. I think it's middle. Maybe. Justify content, align items. So much for autocomplete. Yeah. I guess it's neither. There we go. I guess it's that. Justify content. Okay. And then we're gonna do that dot, right? So the dot is going to be height 40 pixels, width 40 might be a bit big, width 40 pixels, background pink, border radius 50%. All right. cool. Why is it in the middle? Because we have a height and we have a width. So what in the actual... This stream is very soon not going to be PG anymore. Whee! Center. Align. What did I booger up? I mean, that's center. Like, I'm really struggling. Justify content. Align items. There we go. All right. We are in fact in the center, and my previous dot was not centered. And there we go. I said I was going to be pikey mad if that was the case. And I am in fact pikey mad. We're going to squish it. It's called perspective. No, it's not. All right. We have our dot. Actually looked like, oh, me. Blah. A pretty dot. Okay. So we still need an hour hand. Well, we still need a minute hand. So we have our hour hand. And let's go ahead and do our minute hand. Minute. And so our minute hand is going to, let's start with cleaning some of this up. We can keep it yellow for now. There's nothing wrong with that. We are also going to, for the purpose, we're going to do a couple things to keep these hands mildly looking the same. First thing we're going to do is this part is going to stay the same. This part is going to stay the same. Kind of the theme aspect of it, right? And we're going to take, that might change, we'll see. And then we also need to take the width. The rest, they're both going to start at the same point. The top is going to be different, but the width is going to be the same from that standpoint. What else is true? The rest is going to be fairly specific. This should be the same for both. There you go. Now our minute hand, if I get rid of everything on our minute hand, where's our minute hand? There it is. Other than the yellow, we don't have a height. That's problem number one. So our minute hand should be longer than our hour hand. I mean, technically, you know, analog clocks and all. So let's say height 125 px. Cool. So now we need to be top 25 px. The difference to get to 150, right? Sweet. And then we can see about rotating it, but it should work. So if I do, let's say, let's say, we'll do the same rotation. We end up with 420. Yay! There you go. I'm going to put, now what I am going to do is put the hour hand on top of the minute hand, because that way they're both visible. And then, now realistically, yes, I know at this point the 4 should be somewhere more closer between the 4 and the 5, and we can start doing some math related to actually making it spin. But right now we've established that we can give it a degree and it will work. I am going to make the minute hand slightly thicker so that it can be seen when it's underneath the hour hand. So if we do this for our minute or for our hour hand. Yeah. We're going to want to do, if we do, let's say 8. And then that would be 4. There you go. We can even go maybe a little bit more. 10 and 5. Not 45, 5. Cool. And now we have something that's starting to look like something. Maybe. I don't know that I like that it's thicker. I think we're going to go back to how it was before. Just the fact of putting the hour on top of the minute is probably good enough, and especially if we keep them different colors. I think we're gonna what time is it? Oh wow. I think this is actually a good time to stop. Next time we can start playing with things like figuring out potentially how to manipulate the hands so that we can start setting a time. And maybe that's where we get into we need slightly bigger hands than that. And then or something chunkier. And then the other piece is also going to be, or turn it into a stopwatch and let it rotate, which is actually probably significantly simpler, simply because it's just a matter of rotating at 1 degree per minute on the, I mean, we could do a minute hand if we wanted to, but you're just rotating, incrementing your degrees for and ever on a timer, so that's not too hard. I think the clicking and dragging of the hands to make it rotate is going to be a much more interesting challenge. So anyhow, I think this is a good place to leave it for tonight. Thank you everybody who came to hang out. Much appreciated. Definitely we'll see you at Cincy. It appears to be time to pause for the night, and the first noting that degrees thinks we were accomplished. Yep. So I forgot now what I was gonna say. It doesn't matter. Thank you all for coming. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week, and I will see everybody same time, same place next week, or Cincy. Yeah, absolutely. See you at Cincy. I'm excited. I hope you're too. It'll be cool. It'll be fun. And if you are in the Cincy area or in that general vicinity, do check out Cincy Deliver. It's going to be a great lineup. There's going to be a bunch of really good speakers there. Code with Sean and myself included, not to toot our horns too bad, among others. But definitely do take a look if you're in the area. It's great fun. It's a great group of people, and it is a wonderful event, and it's only a 1-day event, so don't miss out. Go check it out. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their